Yo, what's going on YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte. We are taking a look today at the Chicago Blackhawks, who quite honestly are kind of surprising me with where they are in the standings. They're kind of killing it right now. And we're going to be taking a look at the Hawks in this video. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up. And even bigger, subscribe down below. And let's take a look at the Hawks. So going into this season, a lot of people, unfortunately including myself, or fortunately, maybe for some of you, the Chicago Blackhawks were supposed to be one of the bottom feeders with the Anaheim Ducks, the Detroit Red Wings, and they're not doing that right now. They're not. They're doing really well. And you look at the Central Division standings. Whew. There you go, guys. There's the Central Division standings. So, leading the way, no surprises here. You got the two Florida teams. You got the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. Carolina. It seems like we're setting up where we've got those three teams in the postseason. It's not a lock, but there's good odds that those at least three teams will get in. And then there's kind of a matchup between the other three teams, in my opinion. It's Columbus, Chicago, and Dallas. Now, I hate to say it, Nashville and Detroit, I think they're kind of out of it. Unless Nashville goes on a serious run, that's what you get for picking up John Hines. I hate to say it. I didn't think that was a good move then. I'm going to have to do a video on Nashville later this week. But we're not talking about them today. We're looking at the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks, right now with where they sit in the standings, they're just on the outside looking in because I think they've lost the head-to-head with Columbus. That's why, because the goal differential is better for Chicago. Their point percentage is the same this season, same amount of wins, same amount of losses, same amount of overtime losses. The only problem is Dallas has only played 12 games compared to the Chicago Blackhawks and Blue Jackets 16. They've played 4 less games. So Dallas has tailed off since the beginning of their season, but because of how wide this division is, they still have a chance. But Chicago, baby, they are still in the running. I would not have thought they would have been in the running. Now, is it a little bit of false pretense because they have 4 overtime/shootout lost points? They have those 4 extra points, and in the first dozen games of the season, that may make them look a little better than they are. The record is still 7-5-4, if we're going to be honest. But that is still good enough for the Blackhawks to be in the chase. And there is some reasonable thought out there that they could beat, dare I say, the Columbus Blue Jackets out of that last playoff spot in the Central Division. Now you look at the top point producers. Patrick Kane, by far leading the way. He's one of the top point producers in the entire league. 22 points for Patrick Kane. Alex DeBrincat, even though he missed a couple games, he still got 16 points. Dominik Kubalik, playing as good as he did last year. Rookie of the Year candidate last year, still playing pretty well. 12 points for him. Pia Suter, who came out of nowhere. I made a video over the summer or in the offseason that I was saying, I'm like, Pia Suter? Who is this guy? Why is he in the top 6 of the Blackhawks lineup? Making me eat my words on that because he's got 9 points this season for the Blackhawks. Matthias Janmark coming over from Dallas this offseason, 9 points for him. Philip Kurashev, 8 points for him. Dylan Strome, 8 points. And Connor Murphy. Wow, this guy is still putting up points as a defensive-minded defenseman. He's got 5 points in 8 games for the Hawks. So, there is some reasonable thought that they could make the playoffs. Now, you may be saying, what are you talking about? They're not going to make the playoffs. Why do you think they could get in over Columbus or Dallas at this point? 2 key factors, and I think you guys know what I'm talking about. We knew in the offseason that Jonathan Toews, the captain, the guy I'm wearing his jersey, said that he was having, obviously, some issues with, I think it was the aftermath of having COVID. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. He was having some underlying issues after that. I think he had some issues with his health, his fitness, or whatever it was. So he would miss the beginning of this season, potentially the entire season. Just, we didn't know. And then, of course, during the World Juniors, Team Canada's captain, Kirby Dach, Blackhawks forward, had a really nice season last year. Rookie of the Year candidate last year. he had some weird injury against, I think it was Team Finland or Russia. He like dropped his stick. He like threw a stick in the air. He was really grabbing his wrist. He had completely blown up his wrist. So he was going to be out for a significant time to start the season. And we were like, oh my God, we just got the news about Jonathan Toews. And now we're hearing that Kirby Dach is going to be out. So now your top two centers, bye-bye. But I gave an opportunity for a guy like Alex DeBrincat to make a name for himself. And we've seen that. Guys like Dylan Strome, Philip Kurashev. So, guys, this is great. The Blackhawks are getting help from the young guys. And going into the season, I looked at the roster, like Pia Suter, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. They don't actually think they have a chance, right? They're tanking. And when you have Malcolm Subban, Kevin Lankinen, and Colin Delia in between the pipes, I thought you could pretty much dig the grave early on this year for the Blackhawks. But no, they remain in the chase. A dozen games into the year, and they legitimately have a shot in a 56-game season. Once we potentially see Jonathan Toews and or both of Kirby Dach come back, the Blackhawks could be even better with those guys in the lineup. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that, though, because we've seen what's happened in Washington. Washington was going on a really good run to start this season, and then, obviously, everything happened with Ilya Samsonov and Dmitry Orlov, Evgeny Kuznetsov, and Alexander Ovechkin. They ended up playing better without those guys because these minor league guys that were on the taxi squad were like, screw this, I don't want to be on the taxi squad anymore. They had more motivation to play. And now that those guys have come back, there's been this little bit of a lull back in the Capitals organization. Now, I don't think we're going to see that from Kirby Dach, especially because he's so young. And even Jonathan Toews, he's known for being a very hard-working guy. Kind of the culture, the framework of this Blackhawks team. So, overall, the Blackhawks remain in it, guys, and I have to eat my words. The preseason power rankings, if you want to look back and make fun of me for that, I had the Blackhawks at number 31. I had them as the worst team in the NHL, below Ottawa, below Detroit, below Anaheim, below LA, below San Jose. And they're doing better than all those teams I just mentioned by a pretty wide margin. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of the Chicago Blackhawks? Now, I think their kryptonite at the end of the day will be that goaltending. I think the goaltending is going to be a huge problem for them. We've seen that throughout this season. They may have gone on a little bit of a hot streak here, but I do worry over the progression of a long season. I always say this. Good goaltending can make you at least get to your punch your ticket to the dance. And not necessarily in every case, because you look at Anaheim, they have John Gibson, but they haven't been making the playoffs. So there's a lot to be said to that. But then you look at the New York Rangers, who had a pretty solid overall team, but they had Henrik Lundqvist, so they were able to make the postseason. So it depends on the argument you're trying to make. You could make it fit your way. But at the end of the day, I think that's a problem for the Blackhawks. And if Jonathan Toews does not come back this season, I think we will see Kirby Dach potentially in the second half of this season. So I'm not worried about Dach. He'll come back. Again, he might be rusty out of the gate. That's another thing to keep in mind. And if Jonathan Toews, who is a leader for this team, doesn't come back, that could hurt the Blackhawks as well. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What do you think of the Chicago Blackhawks? Do you think they get in the postseason here in 2021? Do you think they beat out Dallas or Columbus for that final spot in the Central Division? Or do you think they miss the playoffs and they're looking at a guy like Luke Hughes or Owen Power at the NHL draft? So guys, let me know your thoughts down below. If you guys like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and even bigger subscribe down below. Make sure to check out our weekly podcast every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern and our weekly power rankings every Friday night at, you guessed it, 6 p.m. Eastern. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and let's go Hawks.